Hi, welcome to another episode of Time Out with Gabii. With me here is the chronically ill, disabled, trans, non-binary cowboy of your dreams, Honeymoon.
Hello.
Welcome to my show.
Thanks for having me. I'm very
You're welcome. I
excited.
mean, it's an honor to have you here. Who wouldn't want to have you on my show? How you feeling today?
I'm good.
It's great to
Yeah.
see you. It's been a while. I think the last time I
Yeah.
saw you was at your show,
Yeah. It's
which
been a
was
minute.
fabulous.
Oh, thank
The cast was
you.
amazing. The performances was out of this world.
Thank
But the
you.
only thing is, I left during the um, break,
Ah.
and I was trying to go home, and then my car wouldn't start.
Oh no. Oh my god.
And I'm like, oh my, exactly, same reaction. I'm like, oh my god, I thought it was my battery was dead, but I'm like, we just got a new battery for this car. Like,
Yeah.
what exactly is wrong? What exactly is wrong with it, right? But
Yeah.
then I called Lindy Jan, like they came to boost it, the car wouldn't
Yeah.
start. It was just a terrible
Oh
night
my
because I have to
god.
keep paying for parking. It was a Sunday night, right?
Right,
But then if
yeah.
the car wouldn't move and the
Oh.
next morning they have to come do their ticket stuff, right? So I had to keep paying for parking till they towed it, and it costed me a lot of
Oh my
money.
god.
Although I got a new car, so
Yeah.
good riddance. Anywho, back to you. How are you feeling once again?
I'm good. Yeah, I've been like taking a step back the past couple months. My show was like a really, I was really,
Huge
yeah, it
project,
was a huge
yeah.
project. Yeah, it was like a lot of work, and like I'm glad I did it and everything. But it took a lot out of me, and then I kept stacking on other opportunities on top of that I was supposed to do these past couple months, and I felt very
Oh,
overwhelmed and kind of like I wasn't doing it for me. Like I was just like, yes, I'll do this. Yes, I'll do this. Um, so I've been taking a step back from drag, and then the past like month and a bit I've been like dipping my feet back in,
okay.
and I'm doing an online like Instagram makeup competition that's
Oh,
like
great. Oh, yeah, I
drag
saw something
people.
like that. I saw something like that.
Yeah.
But then I'm like, after Pageantinta, I gotta like take a break and know my place because, honey, I ain't, I ain't ready to lose again. Like
Yeah.
after losing back then, I was humbled. I'm like,
Yeah.
what did I do wrong, or what didn't I do now that would make me better, right? And I
Yeah.
figured it, right, because I feel like the only thing that made me not go move forward was the dress.
Ah. Yeah.
That was just a cheap budget dress, but it is what it is. That's a story
Yeah.
for another day. Can
Yeah.
you walk us back to when you were a child and what you like, um, what growing up was like for you,
Yeah.
and how you came out to your parents?
Yeah, well, I'm from BC
Oh,
originally,
nice. Okay.
and my stepdad worked like in the oil fields and stuff.
Oh,
So eventually, like he was coming out to Alberta to work all the time. So eventually, they moved us out to Alberta so that he wouldn't have to go away for so long and we
yeah.
wouldn't see him.
That's so
So
sweet, though.
yeah, it was a lot better than going like it's ended up being like months at sometimes because like
True, yeah.
stuff
We
just
stay out
happens.
because I used to work in. I think I said that already in my previous episode. The
Yeah,
times, if you're lucky enough, you can stay out there for 3 months,
yeah, yeah,
a full year.
yeah.
It's great. Like it's a different lifestyle.
Oh,
I
totally.
worked in Fort Mac, and then
Yeah.
I used to travel 4 days on and 3 days off.
Hmm.
We'll fly there and come back, and it felt like I was in this different world entirely.
Yeah.
Because I'm like, I don't really have a social life. You're just in a room every time. It was just another thing. But yeah, sorry, go
Yeah.
ahead.
Yeah. So we moved out here, and when I was in grade 8, so I did high school, and we lived in Cochrane, so it's just outside Calgary.
Okay,
Still a small hick town that is hard to exist in as a queer person.
sure.
Um, but yeah, I didn't really have a good relationship with my parents growing up, and uh, I kind of moved out as fast as I could, which happened to be after graduation.
Oh yeah, everyone
Because
did that.
it's hard to break out of that and stuff when there's nowhere else to
Go,
go.
yeah.
So you just kind of put up with the bullshit, and then it's just like, okay, I can finally like be done. So I moved up here to
Mm-hmm.
do the BFA at the U of A.
Oh, nice.
Yeah.
What's
Um,
BFA, sorry?
It's a Bachelor of Fine Arts, and I did it in
Oh,
acting.
okay. Oh,
So
nice. Okay.
yeah, so I did like a year of like general studies, and then I got into the BFA, and then I did 2 years of that, and then COVID hit, and I dropped out.
Oh my God, were you working at the time?
I worked like periodically because like working during school during the BFA was really hard because
Yeah.
you were there from
Exactly.
7 a.m. to like 9 p.m. and
Oh my God.
it was just kind of that for like 8 months.
Fine art.
Yeah.
Oh my God.
So I
You dropped
I
out
yeah I dropped out
for
in May of
reasons though, if you don't mind
2020.
sharing.
I can share.
Okay.
I was bullied by people in my class. Yeah, I it was a class of 12 people, and one of them just had a vendetta and was a very negative, bad person from my eyes, and affected a lot of other people too. And they just kind of let it pass, or like they ignore it and move on. But it's like I'm the kind of person where like if you're an asshole to me, I'm not gonna
Stay
associate
there.
with you. And it's also just a really toxic place because they really support like bad body issues, and like they support like just bad toxic habits of like
Yeah,
we want
life.
you to look a certain way, we want you to be a certain way, and I've never been that. I've never been able to fit inside their box. So I just cut ties with that, and I was just like, you know what, this isn't for me. And at the same time I was figuring out a lot of things medically, so it just kind of made sense to like this isn't
Back
the
off.
path that I'm supposed to be on.
Did you try getting
um
help from anyone, like instructors or any?
yeah, they're older people that come from the mindset of like
You have to stay.
yeah, and like if like what you're going through isn't
Killing
bad,
you,
and they
yeah.
don't actually understand mental health, they just don't want to deal with it. So it wasn't it was worth half the battle, and then I just wasn't worth fighting anymore. But because of that I was able to like spend a couple months like healing kind of, and I finally like put myself like into the drag world, and it was
Mhm.
like I know everything happens for a reason, and when it gets crappy it doesn't seem like it is. But it's because I was stuck in the house, not working, not
True.
going to school, that I was finally able to be like drag. Because I always kind of like messed around with it growing up, like you know the stuff you do
I
in your
feel,
bedroom. Like I
yeah.
take pictures and do photo shoots just for me, and like it kind of felt like it was just a matter of time until like I started. Um, yeah, but I've never came out to my parents.
Oh, nice. Okay. Me
Yeah,
too. Like, what am I
yeah,
coming out for?
yeah, exactly. If you, yeah,
Because at the end of the
um,
day, it's only gonna make them more sad, and it's gonna cause like I
yeah,
personally I think like, um, how do I explain it? I might feel a little bit bad because like, oh my God, now they're not happy, but like your
yeah,
happiness really doesn't. Um, I'm not the one who's gonna make you happy in this life, right?
exactly.
And yeah, I'm just who I am, honey. Like, if
Yeah,
you don't see it that way, then I know I ain't telling you shit. But
yeah,
I know
yeah,
my family knows, but they want me to just say it, and I'm
yeah.
not saying it.
You don't have to.
Hopefully, they see this channel.
Yeah, there you go.
So, what made you go into drag?
um,
Because you were just in fine art, and then how were you
yeah.
able to? What was the connection leading up to that?
Well, I've always kind of been in like the drama theater world. I was put in dance when I was like 3,
Oh,
so I
nice.
was kind of like I feel like I've been performing for a really long time, but it hasn't ever been for myself. I feel like I've never been the one deciding like doing this for me. So
True,
drag
yeah.
so drag's like this whole world where like everything you do is your choice, you
Under your
know, like
prop,
you
yeah.
get to make the decisions, and like you get to decide everything that happens, and like no one can tell you different because it's your production
Work, yeah.
and your work, and like it's really cool to like just throw something together and like put it in front of people and just like see what happens. um yeah,
So what year did you make your debut?
my debut was October of 2021.
Really?
Yeah, I mean it might I think in reality it's a month before that because I did an online show.
Oh, nice. Okay.
Cherry Satin, they moved to Vancouver, but they hosted an online show that we did on Zoom.
On Zoom.
Yeah.
COVID was really a very funny
It
time.
was funny, but I made a little music video that I just like played, and then I performed once because I was
Oh,
kind of
once. Nice. Okay.
well, yeah, out of one number was like pre-recorded, and the second one I did live
Live. Oh
on
my
Zoom.
God.
It was very Interesting. It's
What
really
if you
hard.
had a Wi-Fi breakdown?
That too. I was just like constantly afraid of like yeah everything going wrong. But I debuted at a Sunday review in October. There was like a call put out on Facebook, and I had been kind of going to the bar for like
Was it fresh fruit?
no, I was in Fresh Fruits later.
Oh, nice.
Yeah, I was just a Sunday review when Rob used to just put out a call for like if you wanted to do it and like if you got your name in and he signed you up.
Oh, so it
It
was.
happened. Yeah, it didn't. It stopped happening like right after that.
Oh, right
Um,
after your performance.
well, I around there he stopped
Okay.
posting the same kind of like calls, but I remember I just emailed and got myself on the show, and then yeah,
So is that like, I know I'm gonna have Rob on the show someday, right?
yeah,
So that would be a Rob question because I was gonna ask if um you can always come back another Sunday, or is it just a one-time
yeah. I
thing?
don't know. I think you can always like probably come back. But I think it depends because they've turned the Sunday Review into more of like a themed hosted thing
Yeah.
now versus like Rob and Whipped Cream from Calgary hosted
Oh,
my
okay.
show that Sunday debut. So it was still like random and like it was fun, like just getting random
Do
people
people
in.
show turn up?
I think so. It was like a decent crowd. It was like a Sunday crowd, but it was pretty decent. Yeah.
What's it called? Yeah. So how did you make your debut to then um hosting your own show?
Yeah. Well, the debut was like it was crazy. It was just so cool to like be in the place you'd seen so many other people.
Yeah,
That was
that
like
understand you.
yeah, yeah, it was crazy. And I went from that, and I got booked in a Fresh Fruits, um, and yeah, like Party Queens and like Gemma, like they were have been thus far like the uh,
Longest
pieces of
time.
my train like pushing me forward. Like I been in a couple of Gemma's dollhouses, which like was also like opportunities that I feel like I was able to show people like this
We
is
got talent,
me,
right?
yeah.
Thank you, Gemma.
Yeah, thank you, Gemma. Um, yeah, and that led to getting cast in Pageantita,
Oh,
Club Kid. Yeah,
Club Kid. Okay.
yeah. So it was uh Glue, me. I'm blanking now. There's a cast online somewhere,
Was
but
Plastica there?
no, not
Okay,
that
because I
time.
think Plastica has been on
Yeah.
every show, every pageantinta.
She'll get it.
Hopefully,
Hopefully.
after I get it,
Exactly.
Plastica.
Yeah, so then I did
Camille was
Pageantita.
there, right?
Yes,
Yes, I
Camille.
just
Yeah,
remembered.
yeah,
Yeah.
yeah. Yeah, it was
And
pretty
you
fun.
won, honey.
We did,
Like, come
yeah.
on. I don't know if it was on YouTube, I watched it
I
on
think so, yeah.
Instagram. And I was like, this is just next level. The way
Oh,
you paint
thank
everything and
you.
it's just amazing.
Thank you.
And you inspire others. Like you might not know it, but you do inspire others.
Thanks.
And your last show that you performed, the one you hosted,
Hmm.
your outfit, the red, everything was given, the
Oh my
theme
goodness.
is just out of this world. But yeah, let's
Thank
go back to the
you.
first one.
Yeah.
Oh, sorry, let's go back to Argentina.
Yeah. It was I was really nervous, obviously, and like intimidated kind of by the whole thing because like
Yeah,
you see so many people do it and you think that like oh I can't do that, but I really like pushed myself and like I was like finishing my dress my our like make your own like I was doing that like the night before because I bought fabric glue but it didn't work on the fabric I was using.
that was me. I used staples on my own
Oh
dress.
my gosh, I
I
should have.
went to dollar store. I bought
Yeah.
flowers. I was like stapling. I was like, I'm tired.
I should have stapled it. We ended up having to like hand sew all the ruching
Oh
and
yeah,
like do all that, and it was very stressful. And at that point in time, you think like, I hate this. I don't want to do it. Um, but yeah, it was really fun, and like the crowds that come out to those are really like encouraging, and like
yeah.
they're not just there to see somebody win. Like yeah,
Anywho, yeah. So, how did you come up with your own personal hosting gig?
yeah.
How did that come about? Like, did you reach out to Gemma, or did you um Yeah, just explain how
Yeah.
that.
Yeah, Party Queens put out a call for shows that they like needed to be filled. Like it was like we
Oh,
have these Sunday shows that we're giving to people to host. So that's why all these past couple months everyone's been hosting on
oh
Sundays.
yeah.
And it
Nika
ended up
said the
just being
same
one of
thing.
those. Yeah. So it was originally going to be a different theme, and then I came up with House of Horrors, and I really wanted to like kickstart something that I can like continue. Um, so I want to like build this whole world that exists for Honey,
Horror,
and
yeah.
like have that carry forward into like the next shows, and like yeah, I'm hoping to do another one next year, and
Is it gonna be your third one or your
it's the
second?
second. I haven't had the second yet.
Okay.
I'm hoping to do it at like collab or something, so like it can be messy and it can be all those things because like there are only so many places that you can do that in.
Yeah, true.
Yeah,
So, what is the cleanup like in collab? Because I know I saw a video of Venus like
yeah,
whipping her hair with water, and I'm like,
yeah.
I didn't even want to get wet in the first place. But
I think we'll probably mark out like a splash zone,
okay,
but it's also just like a community space, so it's basically a black box theater that is able to be used for anything, and they're very like willing to make your idea of things come true, your vision.
that's a nice of collab.
Yeah, yeah, it's like that's why it's been so great working with like the carnival on our shows there because it's like a space that is not only accessible in like a whole bunch of ways, but the people we're working with there like want us to succeed and like want these
Yeah,
things to happen. Yeah,
that's a great.
yeah.
So, what would you say is your um? How do I word it? What would you say is your criteria for selecting cast?
Oh, I don't know if I have like a cut and dry like thing. I think I was mostly thinking about people who I know are willing to like really push themselves in a
Okay.
way that's like not necessarily like different from what they normally do, but in a way that's they're willing to be vulnerable and like um I think horror is very like vulnerable on
Yeah.
stage because you're really connecting with people in a certain way, and I think that takes a lot of confidence to trust yourself to know that like what I'm doing is like good and like I can like scare these people and
Yeah.
it's like okay and like
Because trust me,
it's
the cast
yeah,
was really amazing, especially
thanks.
Carly
Yeah,
Climax.
my sister.
I was like, hold up, like that first number was just
Yeah, she's
the
fucking
facial
insane.
expression, like it's
Yeah.
just hilarious, instead of being
Yeah.
scary.
Yeah, yeah. Yeah, and that was the thing too is everybody in the cast
Showed
like
up,
yeah,
yeah.
they it was a lot of communication beforehand of just wanting to like make something that's like different and like uh that people aren't expecting. So
Yeah.
I wanted people to come in and not really know what was going to happen and like yeah.
Congratulations on that
Thank
once again.
you.
Um, so what would you say is your best performance so far?
Oh, my best.
Because from the way you sound, I feel like, and from the clips I've watched or the videos I've watched, it feels like you're always getting better every time, coming up with new
Aww.
ideas.
Yeah, I mean, that's kind of how I feel like my brain like thinks about things is like wanting to like I'm really like story driven in my acts. Like I really want like the reveals to make sense and I want the song to make sense and everything like that. And I feel like I want to take a step forward every time and
Yeah,
like that doesn't have to mean like every new thing is this huge thing. Like I found like some of my like most the performances I'm really proud of have been like just like a dress and like I'm just like standing there. Um, but I think my best performance. I think I'm really proud of my pageantita step down performance I did at the freak show. I made
or
like a
step
big
down.
yeah, so I made like a big dunce cap
I
and
think I've
like
seen the picture.
yeah, yeah. I that was
Do you make them yourself?
yeah, yeah. Um, so yeah, I think I coming off of pageantita like winning it, I wanted to like not
Show
prove
why you
myself,
were,
but like show it.
yeah.
I wanted to be like this is what I do. Um,
I haven't seen that
and
performance yet. Sorry,
it's
I will.
okay. Yeah. But yeah, I really pushed myself with like the costuming, and like I had changed my makeup up like really drastically for that one, and yeah, yeah.
So how do you come up with all these ideas? Because like for me, like it's a lot of work to
Mm,
like put something together, you know.
yeah.
At times I meet people, like, be it dancing, be it song selections, or be it
Hmm.
even for dresses
Yeah.
or clothes, you know. Sometimes I go on YouTube and I'm like, oh, I want someone to tell me things, right?
Yeah.
So how do you come up with all these ideas?
I think it's just a lot of thinking, which is like the like not fun part of it. But
Yeah,
I spend a lot of time like on Pinterest or like finding like different topics and like stemming off from there. So like in the works right now, I have like this. It's just a mythology like themed like couple looks that I'm working on, and I like go from one theme and try to then make it specific.
yeah.
Um, and a lot of the time, like if I hear a song randomly and it's just like
Oh,
I have to
nice.
do this, and then I'll go from there. Or sometimes it's like a costume piece, and then I want to like make a look the whole number like around that. I think it's just like random. Like I think it's just a lot of trying and like hoping for the best, but like knowing that like if it fails, it's okay too. I've had plenty of like like wardrobe malfunctions that like
Oh, really?
yeah, just like shit you don't expect to happen, you
Yeah.
know? Like
I just hope I don't, because I will hate
yeah.
myself for life.
I think it strangely builds like a little bit more confidence. Like
Yeah,
it
like you
like
don't give a yeah.
because you like what can you do? You know, like I have
Even if you
dance
can walk
training.
there, if you can walk. Oh yeah, go ahead.
Yeah, sorry,
Sorry.
I like just dance training of like if your costume breaks on stage, you don't touch it. You
Yeah.
just like leave it. So it's like in drag there's more room to like play with it, I guess, but like your costume's still broken and you're still just standing there like
It's true. There's what's it called? There was a time I performed with like pasties and one of them
oh
fell
god,
off,
yeah.
and I didn't know. I was just dancing and
Yeah.
dancing and dancing, and like it was when I saw a friend post a picture. I was like,
oh yeah.
free boobies? No, honey. And that was just a terrible performance because I was all over the
oh
place, you know.
yeah.
I had to call Doe. I was like, please take the video down. I beg you in the name of whatever you believe, take the video down because that ain't Gabii by nature.
And that's okay. I think we all need like we humble ourselves like both times I had like my bikini yeah like was gone, and then another time it
Ooh,
was like yeah the same kind of thing of like I didn't know. I didn't know until the song was over, and I was like, oh, this is great.
yeah.
You all saw that.
Hmm.
Um,
You better
we're just
tip
gonna
me.
continue. Yeah, exactly,
Exactly.
exactly. I expect the 20s at that point.
Free
I'll
boobies?
go find them at that
Hmm.
point.
So what would you say your least favorite performance?
Ooh. Um, honestly, probably the digital one I had to do. Like, it was
Oh,
a
okay.
great time. Like, it was really fun people, and it was like my first time, so I was like obviously
Not
excited
knowing
about
what
it. But it was just,
there. I mean, the
yeah,
first is not always the best, right? For some
yeah,
people.
yeah. And it was like it was weird performing to a computer, and like you don't hear anybody because you need to hear your
Cheer.
music, so it's just like quiet. You see people on the screen like clapping, but it's like it was really hard, and like you had to stay in frame, but you yeah it was really complicated, and I feel like that was the only time I've really felt like really like scared, and like because it was
Yeah.
trying to get these people to see what I'm doing. Yeah.
Did you live alone did you live alone at the time?
No, I've lived with for a long time. I lived with a roommate that I met in my first year university, and then when I met my partner, we all started living together. And then my roommate moved away, so me and Cynthia have been living together for this is our third year
Oh
in our
my
own apartment.
god.
Yeah,
Well, how's that been like for you?
good. It's yeah, it's good. It's
Living with the love of your life, like
yeah. I
most of
mean,
us can relate.
yeah. I feel very lucky. I know that not everyone like can end up in that situation, like,
Yeah.
and it feels it's again, everything happening for a reason. So shit gets hard, but I think I've met Cynthia when I did for a reason, and I have done everything when I did for a reason. So it's been nice. It's nice having like a place to do drag and not feel like I'm like,
Alone.
yeah, alone or like interrupting anybody or like causing anyone like distress. I don't know. Yeah.
So, what's it been like for you ever since you moved out? Have you ever tried to reach out to your parents, or have they tried to reach out, or
Yeah. It was a weird fake relationship. You know, you do the weird family things. You come home for
yeah?
Christmas.
Oh yeah,
You know, like um
just for peace, right?
yeah, that's what it was at that point, and it was a lot easier because I was so far away. Like when I moved up here, they moved back to BC, so I have like
Oh,
the comfort of that space, um, and
but one thing about this comfort and peace, or whatever it is, it's expensive.
yeah, yeah,
That
that
is
too.
that is the
That's
part.
also like yeah,
But that is what we chose, right?
yeah,
So,
yeah, um, yeah. And the last time I saw them in person was it was the Mother's Day before COVID. So like
oh,
2019, Cynthia bought me a ticket home, and that's kind of when I had to tell them about Cynthia and me being
did you
together.
both go together or just
She
you?
came for Christmas. She came for the following Christmas, um, because we were gonna like take turns each year going to each other's parents' house, like
Oh,
you know,
nice.
like.
Okay.
But we went back. Obviously, it wasn't a good experience because they're my mom's very narcissistic and they're abusive, but they don't want to admit that they are. So it's like a really complicated situation. And Mother's Day of the next year, I at that point hadn't been talking to them for months.
Okay.
Like I just kind of stopped answering texts and then sent them a final one that was just like, you know what, I need my space.
I'm done.
I
Yeah.
deserve respect. You shouldn't have to ask me what's wrong because you should know what's wrong. Um, and like, it's hard looking at somebody and they deny what they've done. You know what I mean? Um, so I haven't talked to them since then, except for they tried to like come here and talk to me a couple months ago, and it was like,
Talk you out of it.
huh?
Were they trying to talk you out of it?
Yeah, I mean, like yeah, I didn't even know what they wanted to talk about because, like, at that point, it's like, what do you? There's nothing to talk about. You don't
Yeah.
understand why I'm not talking to you, so I'm not going to talk to you.
How about your stepdad? Was he the one who made the effort?
Yeah, well, he was they're both trying to like talk to me and like, but it's from a place of like they want to make themselves feel better. You know what I mean? Versus like actually figure out what's wrong and like address it.
Yeah.
Um, so I had to kind of like reach out again to them and like I was like, no, like you're not coming here. You're not like stalking me.
Yeah.
I didn't know like he's a violent person. I was concerned
Oh
for my
my
safety.
god.
Yeah, it
Just
funny
sorry you
enough
have to
was
go through
around the
that.
same time I started therapy, so like I had someone to talk to about it.
Therapy for what?
Um, just like in general, just
Okay.
you know, mental illness. But it happened at the same time I that happened, so I was able to like have someone to talk to about it and like resolve it. I didn't have to go to the police or anything.
Yeah.
Yeah, but yeah, I haven't talked to them. I don't try to, and I don't want
Me
to.
too. Yeah. I'm so
Um,
happy for you that you've come this
Thanks.
far. You're living your
Thanks.
life. You're
Yeah.
engaged, right?
Yeah. Yeah.
What more could you ask for?
I don't know.
Right?
More great people like you.
Exactly. Exactly. And more great people like you out in the world, right?
Thanks. Yeah.
So what's the scene like? I don't know how I'm gonna word this now.
Mm.
Hmm. Think. I lost my train of
It's okay.
thoughts. um. So yeah. So what do you think about what's happening in the states with all this trans banning and um no reading of storytime books to kids? Have you done a story
Yeah.
time before?
I haven't, but
Okay.
I just haven't had the opportunity to. There was obviously a lot of amazing drag artists that like really strive to go do
Love
that.
reading.
Yeah, um, because their libraries are always open. Um, yeah, it's unfathomable to me. Like it's hard to like even think about, just because
Yeah.
like I'm like my biological dad is American, so I grew up like going to the States and stuff as a kid, and you don't understand things at that point in time. You don't understand that like people are a certain way and all this type of thing, and then you drive down there as a teenager and you see a Confederate flag and you're like, oh, okay,
Yeah.
these are the people that exist. And it's like I found out like my biological family in the States voted for Trump, and like that happened, and I was like, it was crazy.
So are you American Canadian?
I like my mom is a shit person, so I don't have dual citizenship. I could, but I'm just Canadian, like legally,
Okay.
but like
By
on my birth certificate, yeah, I'm half American. Yeah, um, but yeah, I don't know. I think that there are obviously a lot of good people trying their best to like change what's happening, and there are people that are doing that. That Supreme Judge found that one law
yeah.
unconstitutional, which is totally true. Um, it's
So
just
like
like
it still doesn't add up because like
no,
are we trying to go back to the early 90s or early 80s or in the
yeah,
past, or are we going forward? Because at this point I
exactly.
don't even know.
No, and it's hard dealing with, obviously not to the extent that it exists in the States, but existing in Alberta as a queer person is like, yeah, it's a joke. It's really just, it's difficult to see, because you think that because we exist in Edmonton, we exist
Yeah.
in the little orange dot in the middle of all this blue, and it's like you think because we exist in this place of
It's
so
gonna
many
be
people willing to see us and willing to hear us and willing to like understand why things are the way they are, and then you barely get an hour away from here, and there are people who would rather like anything else than like our happiness and peace and safety, and it's like the first time I got in drag and went to Evo, a car drove by right as I was getting to my apartment and called me a tranny. And that was like my first experience out in drag.
oh my
And
god.
it was like understanding that those
People
people
exist.
exist, and they're going to exist, and
They will
we
keep
just have to like,
existing.
yeah,
Yeah.
and then we just have to keep existing, like we just have to keep like being, and it does definitely like take a lot out of you, and it makes you want to like not talk about it. It makes you not want to like be loud and be the queer person that you are, and it's just like we have to keep doing that, because that's the only way anything is going to change. And like it sucks that we're the ones that still have to make the most effort, because
Yeah.
we're not doing anything wrong. Yeah,
It's it's a tough word out there for some people,
yeah,
and like um even the same thing in the dating scene, like
mm-hmm.
as a trans, you're trying to date a straight person, you have to do a lot of explanation about why you're doing this or why you're
Yeah,
standing like this or why you have this and why you don't have this.
yeah,
You're trying to date a queer person, as a trans person, you still have to explain things. And then even as a gay person trying to get date a gay person, it's just a lot of work. Like you said, we're the ones putting a lot of work into all these things, and
yeah,
it still doesn't make sense. But I just hope the world becomes a better place. We
yeah,
don't want the world to change because it would never change.
no,
That
yeah,
that's my personal opinion. I don't know about other
no,
people,
yeah,
because there's some people like no matter what you say, no matter what you do, whatever is stuck in their head is still gonna be there.
yeah,
Like no matter the preaching, no matter if, because
yeah,
people keep saying, I've heard it saying, oh, you don't love queer people because you know queer people in your family. Trust the people who hate queer
yeah,
people more are people from their own family,
yeah, yeah,
but that's a topic for another day that I
yeah,
don't even, like you said, people tend to shy away from conversations like that, right?
yeah,
Because it's just gonna give you headache. Like, what is even the
exactly.
point of trying?
Exactly, because we're all on the same page, and like
Exactly.
we just want each other to be happy and safe. And
But one
yeah,
thing I don't condone are people literally yelling slurs at people.
No, it absolutely achieves nothing. Yeah.
I, it's just crazy, and I just hope everyone out there who has been um, harassed or gotten a hate speech, I hope they heal.
Yeah.
And also like you mentioned, bullying. You said you were bullied and
Yeah, and it was funny enough about
at
like
the
coming
U of
out.
A.
Yeah, it was about coming out. So this person had kind of existed in my life since I moved here to Edmonton, because we were in the same like theater program, and then we were in the same class together. But somehow they ended up being one of the only people that knew that I was like non-binary trans. Like I was trying to like exist as a different person, and they like held that information above my head, and like specifically like would make eye contact with me and call me she in front of people, when like if you know someone's like doesn't want to tell people things,
Yeah, shut your
you just
mouth.
refer to
Yeah.
them as them, right? Because that's a general term anyways. You just respect their privacy, and people aren't going to blink at you calling someone a them anyways, because like it's whatever. But she like really did that and like made it clear, and like there was a cyberbullying and like all this stuff, and it was just like I don't think I can let myself exist in a place where like someone like that is, because like you said, no matter what, sometimes some people like you will not change how they think,
Yeah.
you will not change how they act. Like she was um like got told off by the admin because she was cyberbullying other people in my class, and that didn't stop the behavior. And it's like I wanted to protect my peace, so I
Yeah.
removed myself from that situation. And you know what, it has affected how I'm able to like exist in the city, because she's a part of all these theater things and all this
Oh.
stuff, and the class kind of took her side after I left, even though they understood, and I told them that it was because of her mostly. um yeah, it was a mess, and like it's hard, like yeah, it's hard going into spaces now, because I feel like people know the narrative that like she has
Yeah.
told other people, when like in reality I was just trying to like not be misgendered all the time on purpose, and like yeah, treated like an other on purpose. It's a weird thing people start to do when like they learn things about you.
Yeah.
Like I
They start making mistakes when they don't.
Yeah, yeah, um yeah,
Well, it's at times like violence is never the option because there are
no,
times it just feels so vulnerable, and it's okay
yeah,
to feel that way sometimes. Because I remember like I was in this production as well,
hmm,
and like there was this person who would always, let's say we were trying to rehearse, right, and then obviously it's a rehearsal, it's not a do or die thing, right,
yeah,
and I rehearsed with my flip-flops. You get this person saying, oh, you need to wear your shoes,
yeah, like
and I look around and I see other people wearing socks, and I'm like, oh, okay,
yeah,
so that way, like I and I wasn't in the best headspace then.
yeah,
I just like recollected myself and I was like, why did I even come for this stuff? Because I'm volunteering, right? You're
yeah,
not paying me,
yeah,
like, and I didn't want to just go off. So at the time, this person was in a group of friends, so I feel
yeah,
like whatever I'm saying to A is being told to B and C, right?
yeah,
But then I'm like, at this point, I don't even give a fuck. So, like you said, instead of me addressing it, I just took a step back and followed them on Instagram
yeah,
because I'm like, I wouldn't want to say things that will hurt you, because
yeah.
and I'm not the best person to confront someone because trust, if I do confront you,
I'm the same way.
you would hear things you really don't want to hear, and I
Yeah,
would feel bad because then the
exactly.
world is not going to see you as a bad person. They're going to see me for saying those
Yeah,
things, right? So I'm like,
yeah,
oh, okay, I better just shut up and
yeah,
walk away, right? So
yeah,
yeah, it is what it is, but I just hope the world becomes a better place.
yeah.
Yeah,
I think people are becoming more self-aware. I think we all just
yeah.
need to realize that like we also need to work on things, and like it's not that person you see is a whole person, and like just because they're doing this right now doesn't mean they're doing this all the time. And I think obviously unless someone's deliberately doing something to like hurt you, like giving the benefit of the doubt of like, I don't know what's going on in your life right now.
Exactly. That's what I
I'm
was about to say.
it's
Most of
really
these
hard.
people,
It's really hard to see that, especially with social media, because you only see the side people want you to see. Even when it
exactly.
is the worser side or the sadder side, it's still through the lens they want to be seen in, versus like what happens all the time. And like it's a really hard thing to remember, but it's like it's able to bring you more peace, because it's like this isn't about me.
Exactly. Like it's
Yeah,
crazy because like most of these people don't even know what they're doing, right?
exactly.
Most of these people they weren't showed love at home. Yes, most of us
Hmm.
weren't showed love at home.
Yeah,
Love at home, but honey, once you start loving yourself,
yeah,
you will learn to love other people because most people just love to spread hate,
yeah,
and try to pick on someone to seem like the cool person, like
exactly.
that person.
Yeah,
Which doesn't make sense, honey. It's
no,
2023. We gotta like act like adults. You don't
yeah,
pay my bills, you don't pay nothing. So don't
exactly.
think you can come into my life and try to construct something or recorrect something. It's
Yeah,
not possible.
yeah.
But yeah, it's been an amazing show interview. I
Yeah,
hope you had fun.
of course I did. I love this.
Thank you once again for joining.
Thank you.
And where can we find you on Instagram, and when is your next shows?
On Instagram, it's Honeymoon with 5 O's. And my next show, I'm at the Gay AF Market on the 11th of June at, I think, 12:30 is my 30-minute slot. So I'll be doing a couple numbers.
How many minutes?
30 minutes. So I'll be doing like three numbers with like a couple breaks between, so I
Okay,
can
I was
change.
like,
Oh
okay,
no, we're not doing
performer.
it. We're not doing a marathon. Um, and other than that, I'll be at the Carnival of Cunt events, and you know, my books are open. So
You
book a
better
bitch.
book our horror queen.
Yes,
So you go by Queen?
I go by anything.
Okay, great. Better book our horror person. Thank you so much. Have a wonderful
Thank
day.
you. You
See
too.
y'all next time. See y'all next time.
Next time.
It's not working.